This is That One Audition with Alicia Oxy.
I always like to start in the beginning. So when you
Mm.
have Kenyan parents, your dad's an engineer, a software engineer, right?
Yep.
Where does showbiz fall into this household? Where all of a sudden I love that at 16 that you're like, if I don't get this audition, your conviction so early on
Yeah.
for going in this lane, I want to know where that spawns from.
I think it was watching Beauty and the Beast as a kid and wanting to be Beast and really resonating with Beast. And I remember performing and doing the whole moment where he turns into a prince in front of my mum and dad in our living room as we were watching this. We had it on a cassette, and I don't know, it felt really magical and really cool and really lovely. I think that's where the seed was planted. I think that's where it started, and this idea of telling a story of performing. And then it just escalated from there.
Well, okay, because at 16, for you to make a pact with yourself that if you don't get into the National Youth Theater on your
Yeah,
first audition,
yeah.
that's some athletic mentality where we're
So,
like,
so yeah. So I think you know what it was. It was so okay. So I'd say that was where it started. What then ended up happening was I'd done the whole school rounds again, having African parents. It's all about basically doing a real job.
yeah.
It's like being a doctor or a pilot or a lawyer, but none of that stuff really interested me. I wasn't really intrigued by that stuff. What intrigued me was playing, was being different people, was telling different stories. And the thing is, though, I think there was something, I don't know what it was. Maybe it's because I grew up in quite an extreme household in the sense of it was either you do or you don't. And I remember just going for this audition, and in my head, I had said to myself, if because I don't really like anything else, but I quite like the idea of regiment or practice. If I don't get in, I'll just join the army. And that was the ultimatum that I put to myself. I was like, if I don't do this, I'll just go and do the army and follow orders and do my thing there.
I love that they couldn't
Yeah,
be on more opposite ends.
I know.
Okay, so then what did you do for preparation for this first audition? Had you been auditioning and other things to even know what
Never,
this?
never. I didn't even know what an audition was. I think it was almost like I remember talking to my drama teacher and asking them what is what is I knew what a monologue was, but what is an audition? What do I do? Do I look at their eyes? Do I look somewhere else? I remember just being so naive about it all, and my drama teacher looking at me being like, "You're not getting in." Like you're really hopeful and it's lovely and it's great, but you don't even know what an audition is? Yeah, that's a red flag.
All right, let me hear this first audition story because I don't really,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't remember this first audition story. You have to since you
Yeah,
gave
I
yourself this
do. I do.
ultimatum.
So I had obviously, so I didn't, okay. All I knew was that I enjoyed performing. And there was something about the idea of being a performer and doing more of that, which was really exciting. And through my little Googling or through talking and even talking with my drama teacher, I'd heard about drama schools and the National Youth Theatre. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, National Youth Theatre, that sounds pretty cool. That sounds like an interesting one. Let me look at the people who went there. And it was like big British actors who went there. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is probably the right direction to go down. Let me follow this. And so I'd applied. I'd applied for it online, applied for the audition, and was applying to go on this course, this 2-week course, which I still, again, had no real idea as to what it would entail. All I knew is that it was something to do with acting and something to do with
Mhm.
something that I enjoyed doing. And then it came to picking a monologue, and I bought this book which had the 50 best male monologues kind of thing. It was really cool, classic monologue books. And I think it had to be a modern monologue. It wasn't, it wasn't Shakespeare. It had to be something like modern to a degree. And my monologue was, oh man, if I can remember the name, it was a play which was set in Australia, where these British soldiers or convicts had been sent to Australia. And I was playing someone who was losing their mind. And I can't remember the name of the play, and I should remember the name of the play, but it's just annoyingly escaped me. But I just remember reading the monologue, first of all, from these top 50 monologues, and then reading the play and really feeling this connection with this character because this character's they're talking to themselves, trying to find comfort, trying to find some form of sense of understanding in the horrible predicament that they've been in. And I
Mhm.
don't know what it was, but it just really resonated with me. And I can remember so clearly sitting in the room, watching other people do their pieces and being like, wow, that's amazing. Mine is totally crazy and out there. And I just remember throwing myself around the room, screaming, and then sometimes pulling it back in and just really feeling it in my
Mhm.
body, right? And I remember after doing this piece, sitting there, and there was a lot that I remember the man, actually, I remember the man so vividly. Paul Clayton was the actor who was seeing us and basically saying yes, no, yes, no. And he was scary. He was really terrifying. And I just remember him looking at me like,
Yeah.
wow, that was not what I expected. And I think that's the thing. I think it was very much of a time because of my ignorance, because of not necessarily really knowing what I'm supposed to do. I kind of just trusted the emotion and the feeling of it and
Yeah.
just went for it. And that was like my first ever experience of an audition that saved me from joining the army.
I love this. That this is where you start with your first audition. So walk me through after then going to the National Youth Theater,
Yeah.
after being awarded a Genesis Foundation scholarship at
Yeah.
Lambda, after all this training, right? I
Mm.
talk to so many people that go to conservatory or go to all these different
Mm.
training. Is your confidence to take the swing in your auditions the same? Or walk me through the first audition post all of this training.
Yes. So it's funny. And I always wrestle with this journey of mine because it's that I feel like I'm always chasing that Abu who auditioned in that room because there was almost a sense of complete letting go. There was no sense of judgment. There was just being in the moment and just playing and enjoying. And it's really funny because having worked with a lot of people who haven't gone to drama school or even have gone to drama school, there's always the same thing of like, sometimes we feel, oh, we should have trained, we would have been better. Or some people who say, oh man, if I didn't, because of my training, I'm not the same. I'm always in my head. And it is that feeling of, yeah, I
Yeah.
am constantly now having to chase like what worked there that was amazing that I want to apply to everything because I know that's the thing that's going to get me the job. It's such a funny thing because now having also been on the other side where I do cast things and I do direct things, you realize like it's really not necessarily about how good the other person is or what they bring. It's ultimately about what helps tell the truth or the vision of the story and
Thank you.
so
Yep.
it isn't at all to do about your skill or who you are or how free you
Mhm.
are. It's about the vision of the story in those scenarios and those moments. And I think that is something that I am still, even today, learning and trying to get, comfortable with. Is this idea of essentially being like, yeah, it's okay to not necessarily feel like I have to be the best of what I can.
No, that's so true. And I think a lot of people that come out of conservatory or have more of a theater background, they are coming from a character approach, right? And they're waiting for the
Mm.
director to come in and help them shape this character. But once we get into television and film, once you get into video games and stuff, ultimately it is story that we have to focus on first. And
Yes.
sometimes the training puts us into a more how to create a character, how to get into your body,
Yeah.
how to analyze the text. So it's interesting that our training takes us through this kind of character development place and
Yeah.
leave story for the director to come in. But yet, when we go into audition for television and film, and even video games now, it's the story.
The
We're
story.
trying to
Exactly.
select a puzzle piece to tell this story. Yeah, you can do cartwheels and show me all your great character tricks. That might be great for something else, but
Yeah.
you're almost auditioning yourself out of it, which, yeah, and I feel like that's the trick to auditioning. I'm
Yeah.
so excited to get to this place. Let me just jump to that. So then, okay, Tell me, I want to know that one audition first out of school. Is it a video game audition that kind of brings you into the forefront? Because you've led incredible video games, but then also you get embedded in this in a good way with Kate Rhodes James, an
I
incredible
love Kate.
casting director
I love Kate, man. I've
who's
got
giving
so
you a
much time for Kate.
career. Do you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? So I
yeah.
want to know both lanes. You take me in which direction? Which one comes
So
first?
let me start because I have so much time for casting directors and I love them because they are, and this is another thing I learned very quickly. They are all on your side. I know you might hear, oh, they all want you to do the job so you make their job easier. No, so that you don't understand how much they are on your side. And I remember, so the first ever film job I did or TV job I did was a gig called The Jury. I was I think I was actually 17, yeah, 17 or 16 actually. It was just after National Youth Theatre. And again, I had never auditioned for TV or film, didn't even know what sides were. What are sides?
Right.
Even script or anything like that. And I remember the agent at the time, who wasn't really like my agent, he was more of a mate who was in the industry, who kind of got this audition and heard about it through Spotlight and kind of threw it at me. It was like, hey, just go for this. And it was for the role of the older brother to one of the main characters on the show. And the main character on the show, he'd already graduated drama school. He was much older than me. Again, I'm like 17, right? And he sent this through, and I remember just having the location and the time and being like, okay, cool, I'll rock up there. And it was the Hubbards. It was the Hubbards casting who were,
Oh,
have done a lot of good things. Anyway, I didn't know that you had to learn lines or that you had to like do any of that stuff. So I'm like rocking there and waiting in the waiting room, thinking to myself, oh, this is pretty cool. I guess we're just going to talk and have the interview. I still have my monologue from what got me into National Youth Theatre. Maybe I can deliver that on camera to them. And I walked into the room and Amy was like, hey, so you know about the character, you know about what you're doing? I was like, no, no, nothing. And she was like, okay, do you at least know your lines? You got the script, right? Your sides, your audition. And I was like, no, I didn't. I don't think I have. She kind of looked at me like, oh my God. Okay, you know what? Here's the paper. Go outside, take your time, and we'll see a few people. And then when you want to come back in when you feel ready and confident. Which again, when I look back at it, I'm like, if she was against me or hated me or didn't want me to get this job, she would have kicked me out of that room and told me to do something else,
hmm
right? But the fact is, she gave me a chance. She was like, "Look, here's your sides. Here you go. Go for it." And I got that gig. It was like,
So
it
you had
was,
spent a little bit of time in the National Youth Theater at
yeah,
this point before this audition. So when
yeah.
you popped out there for a cold reading, are you kind of just doing what you did for the monologue, or do you have skill set to kind of
Yeah,
carve
it was
out some
that's the thing. It was
choice?
a feeling thing. It was like just impulse.
Uh-huh.
It was reacting to impulse. It was reacting to the words on the script. And that's all it was. That's all that I was doing. And allowing that to essentially deliver what needed to be given and done, right? I didn't think about, oh, the fact that I think now if I was to look back at it, I probably would have stewed on the fact that, oh, it's the role is a Somalian. I don't look Somalian. Oh no, the role also requires me to, no, sorry, Sudanese. I don't look Sudanese. The role requires me to speak Sudanese. I don't know how to speak Sudanese. Oh, I'm playing the older brother, but I'm only 17. Like, how can I play an older brother? There are so many other factors that will block me to just the Lions, bro. I mean, like,
Right? Back to
and
that
that's essentially
instinct
it.
of just
The
saying it.
instinct. And I think that is something that I think the journey and the one that I am still on is still listening to that instinct and still trying to know again. I'm just going to give the best version of this from what I can give you, and then you can decide whether it's right for your vision or not. Because this is a team game, right? It's not a competition. It's about building this as a team. The director, the artists, the art directors, the rigging, the costume department, the actor, the sound department. We're all in this boat together, and we're all trying to kind of conjure this incredible story. So let me play as a team rather than being like, I'm going to be the best and I'm going to be the one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think
Yes.
I think as time goes on and as you get exposed to the brutality of life in the industry, it's very easy to turn into then becoming someone who becomes not necessarily jaded, but feeling like you have got something to prove.
Yeah. Or almost talking yourself out of the auditions, right? Like
Yeah,
you just walked us through. It's like people get auditions sometimes. They're like, oh, it's for a 60-year-old. That's it. I can't do it. Where you're like, they're calling you in for a reason. Take out some of that stuff and
yeah.
come in. What are you gonna show us in this moment? You don't know. They don't
Yeah,
know.
you don't know, and it's so funny. I'd say the exact same thing with Ridley Scott and Raised by Wolves. I remember again where I was for that audition.
I want those audition details. Yeah.
I was in LA, and I was doing the whole typical British actor thing of going out to LA and trying to get representation or be seen and whatever. And I was in this Airbnb. And I had this audition come through from my agent and my manager, and they were like, it's this show called Raised by Wolves. It's by Ridley Scott. It's this big sci-fi TV show. Again, I slightly pride, but I'm also quite ashamed of the fact that I'm not very versed in film. I'm very versed in games and I'm very versed in comics and stuff. But film and TV is still something that I'm a lot better. But before then, I was terrible. So when I'm hearing Ridley Scott, I'm like, oh, who's that guy? And I'm like, and then
Amazing.
I'm like, I don't, okay, yeah, sure. Oh, he did Alien. Oh, okay. Gladiator. Oh, okay. I don't remember really seeing them, but sure, okay, let's do it. And I remember reading the role and thinking, you know what? It's an android. I'm gonna give him a take of an android that I'm gonna give. Cut to me now having played the role, met Kate Rote James, met Ridley Scott, close friends with his son, understanding that knowledge. And it just, again, just came from a place of, I'm just going to do what I'm going to give you what I can.
Okay, but I need to ask specifics on this one because that was one that's queued up right here.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, how does one approach playing an android? What
Right.
are going into this audition? And I didn't know if maybe video games auditions and working in live action kind of give you an edge for idea of
Yeah.
instinct. But I really do want to know because
Yeah.
those auditions, you're like, I'm sorry, what?
How do I come? Yeah. How do I come to this?
Because you
And I
didn't do
think,
anything with this. Yeah.
yeah, it's funny actually. It was the biggest, when I heard Android, the first thing I thought of was there's a game called Detroit Become Human, which a good friend of mine, Brian Descartes, did. He plays Connor, which is this police android, essentially. And his performance was incredible. And I would remember just thinking to myself, okay, maybe if I take the essence of that and put it into this, because everyone's probably going to think of doing, at the time it was Humans. I was thinking of Humans, the TV show Humans as the
Yeah.
android.
Yeah.
Or I didn't even know about the androids of the Alien universe, so I couldn't even pull that as a reference. So it was like, I was like, I'm going to pull something from a video game and just give the best of what I can. I'm just going to go for it. And then bless my agent at the time as well. I think I love him to bits. His name's Charlie. I've been with him since drama school. And when he sent this through, he's like, yeah, it's a good thing to put your face in front of Kate Rote James. She's heard about your work. She's a good fan. It's just good to do. And I was obviously of the mentality of, yeah, sure, just get my face out there. It's all, I know it's a marathon. It isn't a sprint. So I'm just going to keep going. But to then doing that take and then
So what was the essence that you pulled from? So what was his version in
it was
the
very reserved, very
Okay.
contained, almost like processing. In my head, it was like, I'm going to hear your line. You're going to see me process it. And then I'm going to reply back to it. And that was it. It was literally very reserved. And I'm not kidding you. And I'm more than happy to share this because I know that they'll laugh about this. My agent and manager at the time, when I sent them this, they were like, you have to do this again.
Okay. I love
They
when
were
a
like,
team gets
they were
involved.
like,
Sometimes they're right and sometimes they're not.
this is it. They were like, literally, I don't know if this is gonna really, it feels, I can't. And I remember being like, listen, guys, the person who was reading with me can't read with me anymore. They're not there. This is all I got. And I remember
Okay.
sending it. And yeah, and it, for some absurd reason, or for some reason, it connected, it resonated.
Wait, so
And
did you retape or did you
no,
not? You said
no.
no.
I said no. I said, look, this is what I gotta give. This is the take, man. And again, it wasn't even a sense of, it didn't even come from a place of pride. I think it just
Yeah.
came from a place of literally like, convenience of, there was a lot to learn, there was a lot to deliver, And it was tight on time because I was in a place that wasn't my home, and I had asked a favor. I can't ask another favor. Like I felt really out of
Yeah.
place doing it, so I was like, I'll just give it my all and let's just go for it. And I'm so happy that I stuck to my guns. All that happened because I think again that came from a place of pure instinct, because it wasn't until after I sent the take where I was like, okay, I'm going to look into this more. I'm going to see who this guy is and what's going on here and how big this is, and realizing, oh my God, he's never directed TV before. This is the biggest director in the world now coming and putting his stamp on TV. That's insane. Like all this stuff probably would have put the pressure on me to essentially,
Completely.
yeah, it was really, again, I found the auditions that I've done where I'm not thinking much about it, where I just am having fun and just playing with it. They're the ones which get me in the room. I think they're the ones that really work. Kate Rowe James is, she saw me through 9 rounds of Raised by Wolves. And that's
So
where
that's where
our
I want to
friendship.
know. Keep going with this. With you
Mm,
send the tape, because I think
yeah.
this is an invaluable lesson. Because sometimes our teams, agents, managers, their job is just to get us the opportunity. We're the creative
Mm,
instinct. We're the one reading the whole story. We're the one that should have ideas to be in story, right? And sometimes they can give notes where they haven't read the whole thing or they don't know because it's their reputation on the line, right? Your
yeah.
agents and managers are like, okay, Kate's going to see this. This is their first impression. I love that you stuck to your convictions. 9 rounds, is that what you said for this
Yeah.
audition?
9 rounds. It was 9 rounds.
So what's the next one? Is it over Zoom with Kate?
No.
Is it
So here's the funny thing. The second round was with Ridley, and it wasn't even a round. The second round was me sitting in his office and talking about the character for 45 minutes and talking about his love for Cadence, his love for this Swedish show that he was watching. It was just talking with him. There was a brilliant piece of advice he gave me, or a way of doing it. He said, when you next do a take, just let it run. Let the take run. Do it once, twice, 3 times, do it as many times as you want, but don't cut. Just keep going. And I will never forget that, because it was so freeing. It was so
Mhm.
lovely. So that was round 3. So round 2 was Ridley. Round 3 was doing the endless takes. Then I started getting to know Kate because I started going to Kate's house, recording at Kate's house. She was like, they have no idea what they want. We have no idea what we want. Ridley really likes you, so you just have to keep doing what you're doing. And we just did round after round after round. And I remember talking to Amanda, who plays Mother, about
Yeah.
this. She only did 2 rounds. So it was like so different. It was such a different experience.
Each
Um,
round, are you getting notes where they're just like, try this? Or you think they're
no, there was
testing your
no notes.
repetition?
It was just, I think, a sense, again, this was another way of learning. A lot of these directors, casting directors, mainly directors really, or even producers, they're looking for something. They don't know yet. They have an idea. They have a vision, but they have no idea yet of what really is going to work and gel. I had to play father in an American accent. I had to do him English, had to do this joke, that joke, had to play him in very kind of straight, or in the sense of as a human, or as an android, play with different cadences. I think they were just testing and stretching and seeing what works
Mhm.
and what doesn't. And then it
It's
got to the point, yeah,
true
it was,
collaboration and
yes.
discovery of this.
And that's what was so great about it, because I remember telling other actors that I had 9 rounds for this thing and then being like, that sounds horrendous and horrible. How dare they waste your time that way? And then at the same time, I'm like, actually, it was really nice to have that rehearsal time and
Yeah,
actually have that time to play and really
absolutely.
discover and figure it out with them, because that approach really allowed me to see every audition now as an approach of being like, oh, here's a take on a character. What do you think? Rather than this is who I am, my best thing, my soul. If you don't take this person, then you don't take me.
Right.
it's it's
100%. Yeah,
yeah.
because Patricia Arquette said this, or I heard her say this earlier on in my career. She's the audition process is not to be result oriented. I'm coming in, we're discovering this together. And if
Yeah.
actors early on have that mindset, But for some reason, we put this pressure. It needs to be final performance. It needs to be
Yeah.
discovered already when we're all figuring it out. And I also think, just to put it even more simply, discovery is what we lean in for. The
Yeah.
plan, I don't want to see a plan.
I
It's
want
not
to see a
fun for
plan.
me. I don't want to see it.
Exactly. I was talking to, and look, I think the audition process is a really funny one because I think I've gone through so many ways and rituals and ideas of it. And every time I keep coming back to the Abu who auditioned for National Youth Theatre, the Abu who just basically was like, I don't know what I'm doing. All I know is that I just need to read these lines and have fun with it. I keep coming because oh man, I've done tapes where I've set the scene and I've had my friend follow the camera with me and do these really cool setups. I've bought incredibly expensive cameras when I didn't have the money for it, just specifically to film me for auditions. I've done tapes where I've got in costume or had props or set up. Yeah, it was just so elaborate. And I've watched tapes time to time and just really kind of getting caught up in the final product. And it's only until Raised by Wolves and doing that process where it really made me realize, no, this is just about discovery. This is just about putting the best you can and having fun with it, but it's not about the finished product. You're just here to show them what you would bring to
Yeah.
which,
It's so simple, but it
yeah,
does take a certain amount of time. So for people that are listening, Raised by Wolves comes, I'm looking at your career right now. How far into your career does this
yeah.
come? Is it 10
So
years in? How long?
it's pretty far in. I think it was, oh God, how
I'm
Raised by Wolves.
looking at
No, I'd say
it's
I graduated.
2022 is when it came out. So I'm assuming you
Yeah.
did 2021, you guys
20,
shot?
yeah, 2020, 2021. Yeah. So it was, and I graduated. So I was actually 6 years out of drama school because I graduated 2014. Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
So it takes some time to get into this process of
Yeah.
discovery, especially when you've gone to school. Here's our method, here's a
Yeah.
technique, here's what you have to
Yeah.
do. Sometimes that can get in the way, but also I do think that training gives you a career versus a one-off job. You
And
know what to do.
yeah, absolutely. I think I always say this as well. I'm gonna pull us back again, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
go back to drama school and learn. So I had again didn't know what drama school was, still learning about this acting world or what it means to be an actor. And so I did National Youth Theatre. That was a great fun 2 week course. Did a few pieces here and there in regards to theatre. Did my lucky the jury job, which was great, but then didn't do anything else afterwards because I was studying still. And I decided that I wanted to do drama school because that's apparently what actors do. That's what I was told.
Gestures,
Yeah.
yes.
It's like the thing. Now, when I look back, I'm like, actually, your path can be whatever it is. But my path at the time was drama school. And the only schools I auditioned for was RADA and Lambda. And those were like the biggest, at the time, the biggest schools that you could ever go to. I didn't know this. Anyway, I remember my RADA audition because my RADA audition was so embarrassing and terrible. My mum dressed me. So she put me in this suit and I had like a really lovely case. And basically I thought to myself, oh, okay, these guys it's a school. It's like a uni, right? So I'm going to go in there and tell them what I'm going to do and why I'm doing it and really get into theory and be like, so I pulled out my Shakespeare monologue, which was Henry V, about tennis balls. And I remember also my modern monologue, it was about my uncle who was essentially in the play, my uncle who was dying of AIDS. Again, the name escapes me of the play name. But anyway, I remember sitting in that room and telling them, so this is why I'm doing this, because it means this much to me. And this is what I learned, just being very technical and theorizing it, right? Because I'm like, oh, these people are all about theory. It was so bad. It was so bad. It was like it was embarrassing. And I remember walking out of that room thinking, yeah, maybe drama school isn't my thing. And I just remember thinking, God, why was I so in my head there? It was so stupid. I went back home. And again, I was very much of the mentality of like, I'm not doing university. I'm not going to do that.
Mhm.
It's either drama school or nothing, or I'm going to figure it out. Like very extreme. My family loved me, but But then the Lambda audition came through, and the Lambda one was me just being like, fuck it. Like, I can't, the drama schools ain't for me. Like, they're so in their heads. I'm just gonna go with my jogging bottoms. I'm just gonna give you whatever I've got, and then I'm just gonna leave. I'll deliver my shit and then and peace out, because that's why I did this. That's why I'm doing this. Anyway, lo and behold, that worked and got me a scholarship. So I'm like,
I love
what?
that it's training you to be like, don't put too much on this.
Yeah.
Your instrument is enough. The instincts follow through with this feeling right here.
Yeah. It's,
The no pressure, fuck it. Because it's also like every time you exit an audition, you're like, I nailed that.
oh, totally.
You never get it. It's usually the ones where you're like,
What the hell was that? Who am I? Why am I doing this? Then they're like, we love you.
we love it. Because it's the discovery again, right? We watched him do something and he looked confused and that was
Yeah.
interesting.
He
And
looked real. He looked human. He was alive.
he dropped the line and I just loved it.
was
Like I
great.
tell actors all the time, I'm like, don't cut on yourself. It's the most interesting when all of a sudden you're like, what's happening? That's the most
Yeah.
interesting
It's like
place.
work in that
you're in.
moment. That's when your heart's beating. And that's why theatre's so great, because on stage, that you cannot escape that. The show must go on. So you need to continue. And those are the moments as an actor and also as an audience, when you see it, you're like, oh, what happened there? You know? And that's why, again, I think what the universe was almost trying to tell me was to just be. Don't think too much about it.
The TV and film landscape, it's constantly changing, but traditional actor training has largely remained the same.
It's focused on a theater model whose main goal is to help you stretch the expression of your instrument. That's why you can have years of training,
From singing study classes to audition classes.
to even an MFA, and still not be able to book a 2-line co-star.
That's why we created the Bridge for Actors.
A collection of tech, craft, and business online courses to teach you the skills that you need to go from a student of acting
To a working actor.
To complete the cycle, especially with Kate, I want to know then House of Dragon audition. What is your process or exploration of that? Or was it an offer?
So no, it was an audition. So again, Kate wrote James. I remember Kate wrote James being like, "Look, this is the gig. It's for House of the Dragon." I had a code name at the time. Didn't tell me anything about the character. She was just like, there isn't much to go on. There isn't much to go on, but it's a big character. It's an important character. And I remember messaging Kate being like, "Okay, is there anything you can give me?" And she was just like, and again, there was a lot of power in that, because there was a sense of, okay, if she told me the character, told me who it was, I would have done the deep research, would have thought about this, would have done that, would have probably come into the room with all this stuff. But instead, I was just like, I'm just going to read the lines. I'm just going to read the lines and do the take. And
Did you focus on relationship, juxtaposition, anything to be able to give an arc of a character? Or I love that you're saying you just read the lines, but I know a lot of actors are going to be like, Abu, come on.
No, I'm so serious. I think I was in a moment where you don't have much to go on. I focused on what my character was saying and why they were saying that in that moment. I think it's like the simplest thing that we should all be doing, which is listening. And I remember saying my line. So the action was hiding a tattoo, which you end up learning anyway in season 2. It was me cutting my hair. Really, that was what they kind of switched those scenes around with. But I was hiding a tattoo. And I remember just thinking to myself, I'm not going to play into hiding this tattoo, because obviously this character does it all the time. So don't worry about that. Focus on what this other character is saying, which is, we are destined for greatness and we can do so much. Why do you reject it? And then reply back as to why I reject that. Just focus on that. Deliver that. That's all you got to do. That's all you've got to do. You're hiding this tattoo because you've done it before. Even though they're making it a big deal, you're like, nope, I've done this 101 times before. So it's what it is. It isn't the important thing. The important thing is me just telling this guy in my own way why I don't want to accept what I'm doing. And I remember it was the first time again where I felt so free, because I had no idea what I was doing or what I was saying, whether it was right or wrong. All I knew was, is it truthful for me? Do I believe it? If I do, great, send it off. And I sent it off, and that was a self-tape. And then the second round was with Kate Rod James, Ryan Condal, and Melissa, who was also in the room, the producer. And I just zeroed in on that again. I just literally was like, I don't know. They didn't tell me who the character was. They didn't tell me any of that stuff. They just said, yeah, we just really liked your read and we just wanted to play with it a bit more. And I did it. They were like, great. Okay, cool. Let's go again. Did it again. And they were like, that was fun. That was really nice. Thank you very much. And I remember just walking out the room thinking to myself, yeah, they know I have no knowledge or any idea of who I'm playing. They just want to see me and what I'm going to bring into the room.
Yeah.
And it's so freeing, man, because I think there are so many times where I've requested the script, the character background. I want to know about the director, what their knowledge is, what they've done before. And you do all this noise when actually truly the important bit is actually just the words on the page, man. And I think like I'm learning that now. I'm getting into that phase of learning that now. Even if you were to look at my scripts, you'd almost be shocked because before Abu back in day would have all sorts of character objectives and different ways and actions and whatever. Now I'm like, no, give me the lines and I'll read them in this room and I'll see what happens in here because now we're working. Now we're electric. And I just try and bring that into an audition. And so far, it's done me well.
It's done you so well. If anything, I always say tape rehearsal, right? Because you're not trying to play a plan. You're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And for me, it's the rehearsal. I've booked more off my rehearsal tapes. Because anything that I do thereafter, then I'm playing a plan. Oh, I'm going to do this here. Or I'm not watching a discovery happen in that moment. So that's why I tell actors, I'm like, rehearse on camera. Probably going to send that one off and then look for the discovery.
Honestly, if I look back at my career and I look at the gigs I've got and I look at because I used to put all my self-tapes on Vimeo or YouTube and I looked back at them and I'd look back at the ones that I got and the ones that I didn't. And it's so funny. There is a theme of the ones that I did end up getting were recorded almost in a place where it wasn't the right environment. It was I remember the feeling of it feeling rushed because probably another friend of mine was also doing an audition and I always said, I'll go second. We'll do yours first, get you the gig. And then, oh, look at the time. Now we have to do mine. Okay, I'll just get it done. And it's always been those ones which I've ended up getting the job for. And it just comes back to the universe trying to teach me it's instinct.
It is instinct. Okay, so now let's flip a switch. Put you on the other side. Now you having a studio. And I just truly believe the actor for hire business now is slowing down and dying. You can't just be really an actor anymore. I have not talked to somebody who has started their own studio. So I want to know, at what point do you have this inclination of, oh, I'm gonna run my own studio and make my own video game? And then the aha moments that you've had now watching other people audition for you.
Yeah, it was, I always say that it always started again back at that whole Beauty and the Beast moment of wanting to tell stories. I think I've always, for a very long time, wanted to tell my own stories, wanted to play. It came from there. And I already knew that there would be a time where I'm going to be driving and telling stories and writing stuff and bringing you into my worlds. I think that has always been there. The big aha moment, or like when it was right to do a studio, make video games and basically write what you know, it was essentially when Ridley Scott said yes to me as father in a TV show that he was doing. It was like, if this man who has worked with basically every actor under the sun still sees some form of, yeah, you're okay, you can do this, then maybe I have a voice. And so I was like,
I mean, you literally have an incredible voice for video games. Come on, it came out of the womb and with this powerful voice, I'll listen to you do anything.
Thank you. But I think it was just enough to kickstart and give me the confidence to be like, yeah, I'm going to do this. This is my thing. This is what, and especially, and when it came to games, I think specifically with games, for a very long time, so how it all came to be, was I knew that I wanted to tell my own story. I remember talking to writers and asking them, where do you begin? Where do you start? This idea of wanting to write something or to build something. And the best advice I got was write what you know. And at the time, again, I was still learning a lot about the world and life and whatever. But the one big lesson that I feel is still with me today is after losing my dad and grief. That was like a big event. And I think like it was an event that I needed to expel or write about. And I didn't know how. I tried many things. I tried writing it as a TV show. I tried writing it as a film, a comic book, a play, this feeling of grief or this feeling of loss. And nothing felt really honest or truthful until, again, as I say, this confidence of Ridley saying yes to me as Abu and being like, okay, but so who am I? I'm just a nerd who loves games and Dungeons and Dragons. Oh my God, I should make a game about grief. It clicked. And I was like, oh, wow, write what you know. Write what you know. And so, yeah, that's where it really came from.
I'm also a little flabbergasted. The lineage of this, your character with Ridley Scott is named Father.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott acting as a paternal figure of being like, okay, son, I believe in you, go this way. And having that all come together at the moment of the loss of your father. And
Yeah.
we're all going to deal with this loss, right? It's a completely relatable subject, but then I've never really seen it in a video game, right?
Yeah.
So then putting it in this container and then being so heavily awarded in this arena too, having the BAFTAs award you and see you and acknowledge you. Those little green light moments of just thank you for being a storyteller, right? It's like your vision, your journey that we get to really lose ourselves in and get to express ourselves in and get to literally play in, right?
Yeah.
So then after, how does one then continue to keep a studio going, right? So you write, this one gets out. Do you have, is it still just you cultivating and writing all of these video games? Do you have now a staff
Oh
that's
no,
bringing in
I've
stuff?
got a team. I've got a team of I think it's now 15 or 18 people. Like
Mhm.
that was again like something that I learned from working and with someone like Ridley and watching him work and watching the people around him. Ridley is only Ridley because of the people around him and because of the relationships he has and the trust that he has for all his head of departments, for all the people that he puts there. It's because of these people that Ridley is able to do what he does. And that was a big learning for me because I think as an actor, a lot of the time it is quite an isolating job. You make your friends and you have your moments where you can see people on set and whatnot, but then you move on. And I think you get used to that kind of nomadic sort of lifestyle. You never really have a team. Really, the only team you have are your agents and your managers and your family to a degree. But watching it behind the scenes and realizing that actually everyone is part of this machine of wanting to tell a story and you have to trust them, that's what allowed the business to continue, to keep going. I have such an incredible team of people around me that I know that if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. I wouldn't be able to have a family. I wouldn't be able to do the jobs that I love. I wouldn't be able to make games. And it's because of the people around me and us working as a team that allows this to happen. And I think that has been a big learning because, as I say, as an actor, you are always just by yourself. It's an isolating job.
It is. It really can be. So now that you have a team, you're developing stories, you're developing games. Walk me through being on the other side, the selection process of
Yeah.
saying, yes, that
Yeah.
actor, that tape, that
Yeah.
process. Yeah, I want to hear your experience on that.
It's really interesting because again, I remember thinking, oh, it's gonna be all about seeing who's gonna blow my mind away and like really being like, what's gonna happen? But it's both terrifying but also quite a relief in realizing that actually there is no secret. It's all about finding the person who you feel can help aid tell that vision in your head, specifically your vision, your mind, in the best way possible. If I was a director, or if, for example, like my choice would be very vastly different to like my writer's choice of who the actor might be. Sometimes you might find the right kind of way of going about it, but actually, truthfully, it's going to be different. It's going to be varying. But because it's my vision, this is the person that I feel like is the right person. Doesn't necessarily mean that the other people are wrong. It just means that actually there's something about this vibe here who then gels with this other selection that I've made over here, who then also gels with the other kind of element here, who also actually is free to be able to do this at the moment, who also there's so many other factors which you don't realize until you are on the other side and you're like, oh yeah, of course I can't use this person because they're moving on to another job, or they're doing something else over here, or oh no man, they live far away. It makes it easier maybe if I bring here, if I work with someone closer here. There are so many other factors. There's so many other factors that it again removes the stress as an actor, as a boo actor, to think, yeah, maybe it's not working because there are just other elements that are at play that I have no control of, and that's okay. And
Yes.
it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm now going to forget the people who have also auditioned. And that's the other thing I've also learned. I have never forgotten anyone who's come in for an audition. Who I genuinely feel like a real kind of strong connection to, I will always bring them back. I will always think, how can I make something with this person? Because there's something exciting. It's an artist. I am inspired by the work that you have given me. What can I do with that kind of magic there that you have given me in some other way, shape, or form? And again, never really realized that until I was in the seat of being like, you're not the right person for this gig that I want right now, but I'm going to actually actively think in the back of my mind, where can I pull you in? Where can I bring you back? And it happens. That's why the agents always say, do a good job in front of the casting director, because they'll always bring you back.
They will always bring you back. And yeah, and I do think you're auditioning for your career. You're not auditioning for that one job. Look at
Yeah.
you. You auditioned for Kate early on. That has given you a career. It didn't just
Yeah.
give you a one-off job. It created a relationship. To me,
Yeah.
I did a whole episode of audition versus connection, and when does audition become connection, right? So,
Yeah.
because it's your connections that will keep you in the game,
Yeah.
and elongate the game. Don't think of it as an audition. I'm looking at, how can I connect with this person so they trust me? I can build a reputation of that they know that I'm going to deliver something on story,
Yeah.
interesting, and in my own authenticity. And who knows when that's going to deliver? It might be a 12-year booking. It might be a 5-year booking. It might be a
Yeah.
20-year booking. It doesn't really.
And I think, and it's an interesting time as well, I feel, in the fact that there's an element of also just being a nice person and just being friendly and being kind. Like, it's so simple, yet for some reason, it's not a lot of it. And I think that's something as well. I remember Jason Fleming. I worked on this show called Jamestown in Budapest, so that was actually my first role as a series regular. And funnily enough, actually, the audition process for that was one which I feel, again, I feel like the character was going to be a slave, but because it's all about the inception of America, of Jamestown the first. It was a character who was Angolan, who was brought in to be a slave, but they were a prince, so they didn't believe themselves to be a slave. And I really liked that. I've really connected with that. And I thought, yeah, because slaves don't come in thinking that they're slaves, especially as black actors. Like, you're not going to, I think that was the one thing I remember thinking was, I'll never play a slave. And it's true. You shouldn't ever play a slave. No one ever thinks of themselves as a slave. That's a trick. So I think that's probably why I ended up thinking like, yeah, came in with this gig. Anyway, but the point of the story is that Jason, I remember asking him, because this is an actor as well who's done so much and is such a lovely guy, loves his kids and his family, always made time for them. He would always be the actor who would basically, if it was a weekend, he'd go home straight to his family. And I really respect that, really loved that. And I remember just being like, hey man, so like, how do I have a career like you, dude? Seriously, because you're always working. He was just like, just be nice, mate. It was like such an eye opener.
Aha moment where you're like, oh, there's 100 people here plus.
Yeah. Yeah,
And if I'm kind to everybody, they'll welcome me to another home or vacation. They
exactly.
call it like theater camp, where there's
Yeah,
another 100 people, and they're like, "Oh, okay, he'll
yeah,
fit right in. He'll be fine." Yeah,
yeah. And it's again, it sounds so simple, but it really, but you'd be surprised. And I think that's the thing is, yeah, yeah,
I agree. I completely agree. And then the ones that aren't, it amazes me how they continue to get hired. But I think the world
yeah.
is changing a little bit, and some of
It
those people
is.
aren't. They've expired
Yeah, it doesn't
on their
work anymore.
demeanor.
It doesn't work anymore because there is just so much going on, and life is short. And I think there is this sense and reality of yeah, we're constantly reminded of that. So why do I want to work with people who don't respect that or don't give love to that? Yeah, it was a big eye opener. I think in trying to keep a career.
Yeah.
It's like I've just always led with the idea of being like just be nice and kind. Just say a thank you. Be thankful for the fact that you're getting these opportunities to be seen.
Yes.
And yeah, because I remember, I know I'm vomiting here, like thoughts, but it's so lovely talking to you because I feel like I can actually be open and say this stuff and be really, which is really great. But I remember going to audition at drama school, sorry, and coming out of it thinking, I've got to get the best agent, I've got to get the best this, I've got to get the best that, I've got to be. And actually, the truth is, you find someone who loves you as much as you love them and just go with it. And that's why Charlie's amazing. I can never think of anyone else to be with apart from that guy because,
Well, now he knows you, so he knows
yeah,
how to sell you. Also, it took me a long
yeah,
time to let my team get to know me for whatever reason, my own
mm,
egos or whatever. But I was like, oh, that should be one of my closer relationships. So they know where to push me, where to actually maybe give some
yeah,
notes on a tape if they need to, or
yeah,
be like, you know what, you really need to see Alicia because of X, Y, and Z, because I know this about her. I know what she can
yeah,
pull on. And I feel like those teammates, and like you said, that you've garnered that work with you and for you at your studio, that everybody cares about the project. Everybody's caring
yeah,
about what you're putting out next. It's really at the end of the day. I go to work now because I'm like, ooh, it's either project contingent, who I'm working with, or money. Let's be real.
yeah,
Now
yeah,
it's more, oh my gosh, I get to be with them for 3 weeks or
absolutely.
3 months. Oh my God, I can't wait. I don't even care if anybody sees it. Whatever.
Yeah. It's fun.
Um,
It's a fun time. I had a good time on it and it's with good people. I had a laugh. Yeah.
exactly. I could talk to you for hours because this is so fun. I want to ask, because you answered a couple of my rapid fire questions, but what is one project, whether that's something that you've brought forth in your studio or you've been a part of, that not a lot of eyeballs have seen that you wish they would? So,
Oh, oof. I did a play called Sense of an Ending in this really small pub theater, and it was about the Rwandan genocide. And I was being paid pittance per week, like like nothing. But man, did I have such a good time on that job. I learned so much. I was able to express and feel like an actor. It was a real moment, which I know not many people saw it, but it's still, again, to this day, holds such a special place in my heart because of just how innocent and raw and fresh it was at the time. I
when was
remember
that? When was that in your career? Just
it was literally just after I'd finished drama school. And it was like, it was one of my first theater gigs. And I remember, again, just having I learned so much. I met the people which this play the story was inspired by or based by survivors. I remember just learning that. I remember the rehearsal process. I remember cycling from where I was renting all the way down because I didn't have enough money to get a bus, but I'd cycle there and then cycle back, living off basically chicken soup or whatever. But it was such a brilliant experience because it reminded me why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it's so easy to lose your head and be like, actually, I want my steak medium rare on set. Actually, in
Right.
truth, you're not doing it for the steak, bro.
No, doing it to
It's nice, but
play that beast, to get to really come back to Beauty and the Beast, going all the way back
yeah,
to the beginning.
yeah, it really
It's
is.
that 16-year-old being like, it's this or nothing.
Yeah,
And I
it
think
really
it's
is.
those earlier moments of having it all come together and getting to do it for the first time. That novelty you can't win over at certain points in our careers, right? That's just, yeah, I love that it's one
Yeah.
of those infancy moments of stepping into it and having it all collide together like that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
You know what? It's really wonderful talking with you because I can't imagine the amount of knowledge and stories that you've heard by doing this with other actors and
Yeah.
creators. It must be always different, like always different
Oh,
because it's yeah,
I
it's
love
so
the
great.
journey, right?
Yeah.
We study the human condition. We're seeking journeys, the highs and lows. What a beautiful accident that
Yeah.
this job came spawned out of a failed audition, that then I could say, wait, how do you audition? Because when you go to dinner with your friends or even
Yeah.
other actors, we're not talking about this part.
We
Interviewed
never
so
do.
many of
We
my
never do.
beautiful friends that I'm like, wait, I didn't know that you did that, or I didn't
Yeah.
know that you didn't work for 2 years. Like
Yeah.
what Lawrence Fishburne shared with me on mic versus off mic, right? There isn't this platform where I get to really dig in, and that anybody that's
Mm.
getting to listen right now, they're going to take what they want, right? And leave the
Yeah,
rest, where you get to
absolutely.
be like, and also where you get to connect the dots. I think to be reflective as an actor or as any creative, to be reflective as that, and you get to go and you get to be like, oh, yeah, you know what? That first thing, that first time I was on stage, to touch that feeling again, that's why we do this,
That's why we
right?
do it.
And we don't, very rarely do you step into an audition and right before it go, oh shit, look what I did. Look what I did.
Yeah.
Although I did get that from somebody who I interviewed on this, where he was like, every time I'd go into a big audition, I get so nervous. And he'd be like, Adam, look what you did. Look what you did 2 years ago, 10 years ago, six. And I was like, yes, because so
Yeah.
much of this is the confidence and the curiosity and the
Yeah.
creativity. So I love it. And I love then I get to explore incredible work, like getting to study what you've done in the last week. I'm like, ooh, this man's voice. And oh God, the patience and the way that the confidence in front of camera, that invitation, the audience, you just kind of lean in. And
Yeah.
sometimes that can be trained out of you, or
It can be.
sometimes having the camera be your friend and being invited in, a voyeuristic experience. Those are the
Mhm.
performances that I'm like, ooh, like you said, that tingling sensation. So I love hearing that it's the instincts that have won you these jobs every time. And there's not
Mhm.
this trick to it. Really,
No,
the trick
there
is
is no trick.
pulling off the techniques sometimes. But
Yeah.
you rode that bike for a while. You did go get that training. You did
I
do a lot of
did,
push-ups.
and look, it's something at the time as well. I remember thinking, "This is what am I doing? I'm doing everything. I'm doing everything here but acting. We're doing dance, we're doing breath work, we're doing sight reading, we're doing all these different things that isn't about me being the actor." And now I look back and I'm like, no, it's because it was giving me the tools to sustain. It was giving me the career, as you said.
Yeah.
It was that was it, and I think it really it's hitting me back now and it's still ingrained in me. I think like, and it's something that I can always rely back on. If I'm on a script and I'm reading something and I'm like, oh, where am I going? I've got tools to pull out. But ultimately, it will always come down to just trusting the words on the page, trusting that the writer has written from a place of honesty and truth. So just deliver what's on the page and try your best. Yes, of course, you can play and bring your own element of truth to it, but 9 times out of 10, that writer's writing from a place of truth.
Exactly. No better place to end. I have so many other questions, but you just have to come back. So promise me you'll come back
Of
in a
course I will.
year, a couple years, something.
Well, I
Love
will.
it.
Thank you.
What an amazing, thank you. It always gives me so much joy when I walk away from these, and it gets me excited to go do an audition here that I have to throw down. So I love it. Thank you. Thank you for your work. Thank you for building the studio where you get to tell more stories and employ other creatives. That to me is that that makes your dad proud,
Thank you.
you
Thank
know?
you.
So where can everybody follow along?
Yeah.
If you're on any of the socials
It's
where people
I've
pitch you stories, or
yeah.
they've got a good video game idea that they want to build in the studio, just let me know.
I am on Instagram, so I have a funny relationship with socials, but I am on Instagram. That's like where I hitch my space in. But
What is it
if
on
you,
Instagram?
it's my name, so Abubakar Salim, which was my amazing PRs were able to snag. But for a long time, it was Abzy Babsy, which was a bit weird, but now it's my name. So I'm kind of really happy that it's my name. So thank you, Lorena. Thank you, Robin. We really appreciate that. But yes, you can find me on Instagram as Abubakar Salim.
And then curious, does your studio accept outside stories
Oh, always.
for video games? And what is
Always.
the submission process through that? Do you guys
Yeah,
have
so you can do it through our website. So the website is Surgent Studios. Surgentstudios.com. And yeah, you just email us, put it through. It isn't as intimidating as it is. We don't have a reception desk or anything. It's just basically me and a couple of mates going through emails and be like, oh, that's really cool. So yeah, we're absolutely loving to hear as many stories as you can and as many as you have. So yeah, just send them through.
Thank you. I'll put it in the show notes. This was incredible. Thank you so much.